Hey, it's David, and I wanted for you to listen to this interview to show you the possibility of change and transformation from going to shy, socially anxious, lacking confidence, difficulties interacting with people, into becoming a much more positive people person, confident, happy, that will lead to more success. And so this interview is with Humberto, who came to me really struggling with a lack of confidence around, not only around people in general, but especially at work. He was really negative, had a lot of victim thinking going on, victim mindset stuff. And though he was successful in his career previously, he had been unemployed for about 2 years. And he came to me, said, this is enough. I need to fix this. Found my stuff. And, I ended up helping him. So I want you to listen to me interviewing him so you can really hear what's possible for you, what's possible for somebody to go through the process of the very system that you've been learning about, the confidence breakthrough system, in order to help you move forward to have the life that you want. Okay, so here we go.
Here we are. We are talking to Humberto, who is just an awesome guy that came to me, I guess about 7 or 8 weeks ago. Humberto has been a successful person in his career in management and kind of project management. And when he came to me, he was really struggling a lot with a lot of negativity and just kind of fed up where things were in his life. And he was, didn't have a job and was kind of looking for the next thing, and really wanted, just to handle this, and really was looking for some help. And so we're going to talk about, where he came from, where he was at, and kind of what's been happening for him throughout the coaching in these past several weeks. So, Humberto, you're there, right?
I am.
Cool, man. So thanks for doing this. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it, and helping people see what might be able to happen for them as a result of really, moving forward, taking care of this kind of thing. So, and possibly working together with me. So, let's start with where you were at. What life was like for you before we talked. Quite frankly.
Okay. Well, I was living with a lot of negativity. I was very depressed and avoided any type of conversation with people. The negative being that I've just always felt like it was a waste of my time to have small talk, conversation, or just even being around people who would just talk about nothing is how I looked at it. And I started to really feel that this was keeping me away from people, from making friends, from making new friends and new contacts. Or just really started to notice that I wasn't getting anywhere with if I continued on the same path.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely struggling with a lot of negative things from my childhood as well. And that I just really wanted to move to a better place with dealing with people. As a manager in my previous job, I felt that I avoided a lot of issues as well, a lot of conversations, a lot of interactions with people, more that I just wanted to stay in my side of my head, just get the job done and get out of people's way, without seeing that there could be an opportunity there to grow and network. I didn't really care. I just felt really uncomfortable in the presence of other people.
Yeah. And I remember, it's almost hard to remember how you were.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really incredible. And I remember hearing you and going, wow, this guy is in a lot of pain. He's really struggling, and he doesn't see another way. And so what I remember trying to show you when we talked on the breakthrough session was, hey man, I was very direct with you. I remember being like, hey man, you got to get a hold of this. You are giving your power away, and maybe you don't realize it, kind of with how you're speaking, how you're seeing things, and that it's kind of other people's fault. And you heard me. I heard you hear me and go, okay. And you saw that, which I imagine gave you some power back, because right, everything was about how the world was doing it to you rather than you were doing it to the world. Right. That you were creating, you were fundamentally creating, your interactions with people, your shyness, your social anxiety, and all that. And of course, from that position, there was no change. It's just how things were. And so, yeah. So was that your experience as well? Or what was your experience?
Yeah, totally. And feeling, because I am an introvert, and then really being painfully shy, that, it was just someplace that I hid inside of my head when I was around other people, and never felt that I could respond quickly enough. I was just always in my head and thinking things through deeply when I should be more present in a conversation. Yeah.
So what I'm curious about, so thanks for that. What I'm curious about is what was going, so we had the conversation and you decided you wanted help from me and wanted to jump in. What was the doubt, or were there any internal obstacles that came up for you about signing up, and jumping in to get my help? Because sometimes people are like, well, I don't know if I can do this. Well, David's done it and he can do it and other people can, but not me. Was there any of that kind of conversation going on, or were you just like, I'm in, I'm gonna go for this? Were there any kind of internal obstacles? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I wasn't sure if I could really focus in. It was my concern that I can focus. I was definitely motivated to do this, but I was concerned that, well, once I get into the material, will I be as motivated? Is this going to be too much work? And, I was worried about that, really, honestly. But I kept telling myself, no, I want this. I want to make this change in my life. And I need to be open to your process and really take it in. And so it was there. But as I started, with our first conversation, I think that really helped when you were just very open and encouraging and positive, and at the same time you were pretty hard too. You said, well, you got to do the work. You don't expect results just by signing up for the course. You've got to do the work. So I took all that in. I took it in and prepared myself for your course. Yeah, man. It's because I am here to make things easier for people, right? That's what I do. But there is a certain amount of work, and you've just been awesome. We were just talking about it on the coaching call earlier about how proactive you've been, and you have continued to do so. And what you just mentioned, the openness there, you've made my job so much easier to help you. That I just say this or that, and it's not like you do. It's not like you have to do everything I say, but you at least consider it. I can hear you go, okay, and you at least take it in and consider it, whether you do it or not, right? Right.
The important stuff you do, and then there's other stuff we'll talk about and say, hey, look for this, watch out for that. It's like, okay, it's just kind of secondary stuff to the core training and coaching and all that. But your openness, it's both your focus and your openness that I have appreciated and admired in you, quite frankly. As we've worked together here, that I really attribute from your end that has been a huge, huge contributor to your success.
Yes, thank you, David.
Yeah, and so let's talk about what have you found as a result of the coaching so far.
Well, what I appreciate about the coaching process, the first thing that I participated in was the coaching call. So for me, I didn't get on the line first to discuss any progress or what I had been doing, but I got an opportunity to hear others speak and empathize with their stories, as to where they were and what they were attempting to do. And that was helpful for me, feeling that I'm not the only one out there, and I know where you're at. I've been there, and so that was a positive. And what you would talk about on the call about, well, did you go over this process? Did you watch this video? I suggest you do that again. And it just helped me focus on those key points. Okay, this is what you picked out, and this is what you recommended for the person. It might have been the same for all of us, or not, or is different for each one of us. But you're very supportive. You're very supportive on the call and encouraging to each person. And when it was my turn to speak, you do listen. You listen and you pick out. We might be rambling on. But what I appreciate is that you focus in, even if it's just on one point, and say, you know what, this is what I heard, and this is what I think you should work on. I mean, because if it's just one step in one area and one place that we can get a win, something positive we were able to change, it makes it so much easier to move forward. And so that's what I definitely enjoyed about that call. Your support on the call, and your even support for everybody on the call. Yeah,
that's great to hear, man. And in terms of kind of tangible results, how have your conversations been? How's your confidence been? What have your interactions been like with people in general? And you're going through the process of interviewing for this job, and you're like one of the final front runners. What have you noticed how it's helped you with all this?
I have a lot more confidence now when I approach people or need to be in a discussion with somebody. I don't approach it with the levels of anxiety that I had in the past, which I was just dread. I feel more in control. I feel that I'm able to be more present, and if I slip, and because that's the thing, catching yourself. I have the tools. You've given me the tools to use, whether, if it's just the breathing, if it's the coherent breathing and to get my focus back into the conversation and not beating myself up when I start to go into my head, hey, let's breathe and let it go. So all these little tools have helped build my confidence where I am now much more relaxed and comfortable speaking to strangers. I don't know much more to say about that. It's such a different change for me because in the past, would have completely avoided any type of encounter like that, or have showed up to a conversation, like an interview, not prepared at all, and just like, oh, what is this person going to ask me? Oh, I'm not going to be ready for this. I'm going to stumble over my words. I was beating myself up before I even spoke words. So, it's just that confidence level where, you know what, I can handle whatever you give me, you throw my way. I can answer that question, and not fear getting stuck while I'm having a conversation. It'll happen, but you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. And that's really a powerful thing. Now that I move forward in having conversations, that I'm not stuck worrying about what I didn't do or what I should have done.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. The transformation has just been incredible watching you from this end, helping you, assisting you, and really watching you just, it is it's like just blossom is the term that comes to mind. And you're a man, and of course you're masculine. I don't mean to emasculate you, but like this shriveled up plant that just is like boom, just like before that everything you used to say was negative, and I had to remember going there, come on, man, do you realize you're doing this constantly? And now I think on the last call, you went there for a little bit, but everything is positive and moving forward now in a way that is just night and day, man. Night and day from over here.
Yeah, it's exciting for me, honestly. I have to say that, and that I do look forward now to to small talk, because I don't go into that with any expectations. In the past, my mind was always on the outcome, the expectations, and why. I just didn't realize why I had all these negative thoughts or dooming everything before it actually happened, and that was a big issue with me. So you've helped me, hey, just let that go. Don't listen to those thoughts. Breathe. What does it matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That it's all stuff that I've had to use and use to this day, and it really works. And I'm so glad that it's helped you so much. So, so if you were to narrow to one or two things that have been most beneficial for you so far, or maybe just the one thing, if there was like a key thing that people listening to this could say, kind of, because you're kind of like, in a way, I mean, as you're a student, you also can become a teacher. You know something a lot more about this and are further along the path than a lot of people are that have dealt with shyness, social anxiety, lack of confidence, right? These types of things. What's the one thing that's been most useful for you that you've learned here, that if it's like just that one thing that you kind of have kept coming back to these several weeks that has really assisted you in getting these types of results?
It's feeling my body, knowing my body, and being present in my body in a conversation. Because I got to say, I always go to my head. I feel the anxiety in my shoulders and in my neck, and so much so that it clouds any type of thought and judgment of why am I having this conversation? Why am I here? So it's that presence, being present, preparing yourself to be present, the breathing exercises. I mean, all of that is just so helpful for building my confidence. It really helped me focus on what's more important, and it was a hard work to really push that negativity out, right?
Yeah.
But once able to control and feel those thoughts, because it doesn't matter. I'm judging myself a little too much. I could focus on, by breathing, I could focus on what's more important. In my head and in my thoughts, clear out all that negativity, and then just focus on the conversation. That presence is so important when having any type of conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what what you've also said to me is about how that's affected, especially at work, things for you, group meetings and things. And of course, you're going through this interview process, and you're much calmer, much more relaxed. Like, when you were saying before, I can answer that question. I think that was in reference to that. And then you're going to be, looks like you're heading down the road of being in a management position, and it just, of course, you're not in that situation yet, but now you've got these tools and skill sets and this presence that's you're going to show up totally differently, and it's going to have all these effects that are going to be, it's just going to be, I want to say awesome. I think it's going to be awesome, but it's just going to be so different. And just for the fact that when you show up, you're confident in control of who you are more than ever, that you don't have to worry about all this stuff ahead of time that you were.
Right. I feel like now I can control the anxiety when I know I'm headed towards a confrontation that, I'm not going to say a confrontation in terms of it's really negative, but where somebody might be angry about a situation, something that wasn't done properly, expectations weren't met on something. Well, you know what? I can approach it now and not carry that anxiety with me. I'm prepared now. Just, hey, let's get down to it. Let's fix this. Let's do this, and not feel like I'm going to get beat up over something that I couldn't control, whether it was in hands or not. But
and be able to express yourself more, because I remember that was a big problem of not being heard and all that, right? Not being able to.
Definitely not. Right. That was a big fear So yes, I can express myself better. And feel stronger when I'm doing that. Feel that confidence when I'm expressing myself.
Yeah. And even, I mean, for everybody listening, Humberto is a married man. and he's got a wife that he loves, but you know, you're out there too, and you're just feeling better, more positive, more attractive, and so that has effects on women when you're out and about, right? I mean, it does.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a good thing. And of course, you love your wife, and nothing's going to happen there. But these other things start showing up just because you're a different guy, you're confident, and you're just a more attractive person. And not only in reference to, you know, attractive women and stuff, but people are attracted to you more and want to be around you more and talk to you more. And because you're also able to stay in conversation and contribute it in different ways and express in different ways, right?
I've definitely noticed the change in that, and you know what? It's powerful. It is a powerful change, and it's exciting at the same time. I really enjoy it, and it's so odd and different for me to have that type of attention. But and I recall way back then, I told you, I don't want any attention. I don't like attention. It's so hard for me to accept thanks. Well, you know what? Bring it on. You know, bring it on. I feel so much better. I feel so much better.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. That's so great to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, thanks for doing this. Thanks for talking with me here, having this conversation, and just keep doing what you're doing and doing so great, and just excited for what's next for you here.
Yeah, no, thank you, David. I couldn't have done it without your support and being able to communicate with you, whether via email or the calls. And I find your material motivating. I even watch on your videos. You're very positive and motivating on the videos, and I like that. And you know, you're very encouraging, and you give me a lot of kudos when I do something great. And if I do mess up, you get on me about it, and I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. I do my best to lovingly kick butt only when I need to, but in a very loving way. You know,
deserved, and you know, I was ready to take it, and it helps me. You know, because you'll tell me, well, you should clue in on this and do this and repeat this. Look at this video again, and those are very positive and helpful tools. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm just so thrilled, really, that it's helped you so much. So cool. So thanks, man. I think we're done here. So unless you got anything else you want to say, I think we're going to wrap it up.
No, we're good, David. We're good.